Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first video episode of Becoming Dangerous in Excel. And what the purpose of this video series is to give us a good foundation of Excel, and that'll help us in the future to, once we come along some more advanced worksheets, it'll give us a good foundation to build on from there. So some things we're going to be talking about today are a lot of math functions. So we're going to be going through a few things using an example that we're going to get to. But if you want to go ahead and skip around to something that you maybe you came here for something specific, then in the comment section, I have timestamps so that you can jump around to the section that you want to go to. But so this is kind of going to be our curriculum going forward. Today's video is obviously going to be on math. I have it highlighted here. Later on, we're going to do some if statements, formatting, cleaning and filtering data, doing different lookup functions, dates, and then we're going to get into more intermediate and advanced lessons later on. If you want to see something specific, go ahead and put it down into the comment section, and I can possibly add it into one of these videos. So we're going to jump to our example because I like using examples. To me, it's an easier way to learn things. But so we can see here, these are all the the different topics that we're going to be talking about. And here's our data set. So we're going to pretend that we are an exotic car dealership, and we have some cars in our inventory. We made this little table here. We got our make, model, the quantity that we have, what it costs for us to buy this car, and then what we charge to sell the vehicle, and then the profit per sale of per vehicle. And we can start out with the average function. So let's say we want to know the average cost of the cars that we've purchased in order to sell. We can come ahead, go down and highlight this data, and before we go and type in like equals average down here, we can look and see that Excel already gives us some information on the cells that we have highlighted. So the average, we can already see the average is already 206,709. We have a count of 9, so we have got 9 cells highlighted with information in it. And to check that, we can go down one more, and so now we actually have 10 cells highlighted, but the count still says 9 because this cell here doesn't have any data. If we put data into that cell, now you can see that it gives us 10. Take that away, and we're back to 9. Oops. Back to 9. Okay, and we have a sum of 1,860,377. So, okay, now that we see that Excel gives us a little bit of information just by highlighting all the cells, let's go ahead and get to the actual functions. So say we want to get the average, we already did the cost. Let's get the average price that we're going to charge for our vehicles. So we can come in here and press equals, and equals tells Excel that we're ready to do some type of function. We want it to calculate something for us. So it could be something as easy as 2 plus 2 or 2 minus 2, but it's going to calculate nonetheless. Let's get rid of those. Okay, and let's go with the average. So you can see as I started typing in information here, Excel auto-populates. Well, it gives us some different choices here that we can choose from. We can see average, average A. Some of these you're going to use more than others. I don't use any of these, but average does come in handy sometimes, especially when you want to like nest it into other functions. And we're going to talk about nesting later on. That's a little bit more advanced. But we see here that we want the average. So let's say we want the average price of our vehicles. We have average highlighted. So from there, we can just press the tab button. And when you press tab, it puts whatever highlighted selection, fully ready for you to input your variables into it. So you see I have here average. Now it wants number 1. You can see that number 1 is highlighted, well, bold here. So we could say we want all of our prices that we're selling for. So we see I2 all the way to I10. So I2 right here all the way to I10. And the colon here just means, we have a range of cells selected. And what we can do from here is go ahead and close our parentheses. And then you can see that we have $318,888 is the average price. Let's go ahead and check that. You can highlight all of that. $318,889 exactly as our formula says. Okay. So let's say now we're going on to median. Median isn't one of the information bubbles that pop up on the bottom here. So this is something that we're going to have to calculate. And a lot of Excel's functions are pretty, how can I say this? They're pretty intuitive in that you can, start typing something and, it's very common that what you're looking for, like say median, is going to be exactly that, is going to be typing out median. So you can see median returns the median or the number in the middle of the cell of the set of given numbers. Sorry. So, okay. And from here, we can press the tab key again. And just like with average, once you press tab and whatever selection you have highlighted, it's going to fill that out for you. So now we have median and the open parentheses here. Let's just say, let's say we want the median profit. So the median profit per sale. We're going to have this, our J2 to J10, J2 to J10, close that parentheses, press enter, and now you've got a median of 70,383. That number right there. And we do have 9. We have 9 different, cells populated with information here, so it's going to be pretty easy to pick the middle cell. Not like if we had an even number of, information here. But some other things. What else can we do? We can say the min. So the minimum, just like I said, you can go ahead and start typing out whatever you think it might be. Like, oh, I need the minimum. Let's type in min. Then there's a good chance that that's the correct function for you. So we're going to go ahead and type in min, hit tab again, and we want to know the minimum. Let's say the minimum price that we're charging for our vehicles. Go ahead and do that. 184 is the minimum. Some of these things we can go in and just look at this. You can eyeball this and see that, okay, yeah, 184 grand. That's the smallest number out of this. But if you got huge data sets like rows and rows of information, then these functions are going to come in very handy. So we can do max. And just like I said, it's just going to be max. And let's just pick it out of our data again. Our price. Okay. Max 568,000. So a pretty big difference here between our maximum price and our minimum price. But that's going to happen. Yeah, it just is what it is with this data set. Sum. Okay, so sum. I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen somebody do sum and then this and then this and then this. You get the point. It's terrible practice. If you've got numbers all over the place, then yeah, you can go ahead and pick different sums like that, but chances are you're not going to have that. And just like with that little example I just did there, I also see people doing this, and man, it just pains me. It just pains me to see this. You're going to get the right answer, but it's just unnecessary. So we want to know the sum, let's just say the sum of the quantity of cars that we have. And like I said, previously, whenever we highlighted the data, it'll tell us, sum 158. So we got 158 cars. But, sometimes you want to see that. You want to see that just that data set just there in case you need to use it for something else. So say like, all right, yeah, I've got 158 cars, and you want to say, I don't know, you could do really anything based off of that. Let's get rid of that. We don't want to do that. So, all right, we're just going to have our sum right there. Sum, the cost, let's do the cost of everything that we have here. Oops. equals sum, highlight all of our data, and then, yeah, we saw this earlier, 1.860 million. Okay, so that's a quick overview of sum. Sum's pretty easy. Just, you don't have to go in there and put a comma between each cell unless you're actually picking individual cells out. Count A. So count A is a little different from count. So count counts everything. Let's do this. Let's go off to the side over here. So let's say we just want to know how many different vehicles we have. We could do count. And count counts actually numbers. So this first one, count, just counts numbers. So let's say that we want to do count of these. It'll pop up as 0. See? 0. But if we want to do count of these, oops, we don't want that last one. Count as these, then it'll pop up as 9. So count counts numbers. But count A is a little bit different. Count A counts the numbers of cells in a range that are not empty. So if there's something in the range of cells, then it's going to count it. So we're going to tab that into there and then count. So we just want to count all of these. It's going to tell us 9. See? But even if we went to, let's go one more. Say I11. Oops. I11. See, it still says 9 because nothing's in that cell. We can see nothing's in the cell. It's just going to count what's in the cells. Okay. Count something that, you may or may not use it, but I've seen it nested into functions. So that's something just to know for just for your benefit in the future. Okay, so Sumproduct now. Sumproduct is a really useful one. So what we can do is, let's say we want to multiply each one of these quantities by the cost and then add them all up after. So normally what we would have to do is we would take 25 times the cost and it would give us another number. Let's just do this off to the side over here. So we could say that times, and the asterisk is a multiplication sign in Excel, so remember that, times the quantity, and that gives us the roughly 3.4 million. So normally we would have to calculate all of these individually. Let's pull this down. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the end of the cell and saying that, hey, I want this formula here to come down and carry with me and do this exact same formula except in the cells below it. So I'm grabbing it and dropping it down, and it's multiplying these for us. You can see here, yep, 11 times the 105,000. But yeah, Excel basically remembers where the formula is, and it moves with you as you move cells. So keep that in mind as well. But we're going to get to referencing in a second so that you can actually lock some of those in so that they don't move. But okay, and then what we could do here is the sum of all these. And that gives us 32.8 million. Okay, so let's say we didn't want to go through all of those steps. We just wanted this to give us 32.8 million right from the get-go. What we can do is Sumproduct, and it's asking us for an array. So array 1, we're going to take this array here, and then array 2 is going to be the cost. We close that, and then that's exactly what we wanted. See, they're the same. So that's a really easy shortcut instead of going ahead and calculating all of these individually. It didn't take us that long to do it, but it's still really helpful in my opinion. We can do the same thing with these as well. So if we carry them over, this isn't going to work right. Watch what happens. See this massive number here? What we did was we were calculating the quantity times the cost, but whenever we moved over, the formula moved over with us. So when we moved over, it's now calculating the cost and the price. See, we don't want that. We want it to stay with the quantity. So we want, let's go back to this one. We want the G column to stay the same. So now we're kind of bumping into the referencing that I talked about, referencing cells. And what we can do is let's say we always want to keep quantity, the quantity in our formula. So we've got G2 to G10 right here, and we don't want it to move off of that column. So what we can do is we come and put the dollar sign. See, I'm putting a dollar sign right before the G there, and then let's put another dollar sign here before this G so that this column stays the same. And watch how that happens. And then we'll take this and go all the way over. So now let's look. See, the G column stayed there, and same thing with this formula here. We have the G column, so that we're not having to go in and change our formula every time we go ahead and move our copy. Let's say we copy and paste the formula somewhere else. We're not always changing our formulas up. So referencing cells using this dollar sign in there is a good way to quickly be able to use formulas in other instances rather than just going ahead and typing in a different formula every time. Okay, and let's do a quick example of that, just because I can show a few different things there. Okay, so let's say we want to do some addition here. We'll do sum, and actually, let's get rid of these. This could be a better way to show it. So we can do sum of that and that. Okay, 2 and 3, 5. What we can do is we can drag down, but this isn't going to give us anything because see, as we're moving down, our reference cells are jumping down with it, so it's not actually calculating anything here. But what we can do is, just like we did with the G column over here, we can lock in this row 5 here, because we're going down. We want 5 to stay locked, because if we go down, it's going to jump to 6, 7, 8, and so on. So what we can do is we can lock in row 5. Let's come here, and we have here, see, M5 and N5. If we come in the middle of N and 5 and put our dollar sign in right there, then see, now we have completely different numbers. Why? Because it stayed on that 5 row. So that's just a little bit of a introduction into referencing. As we get into more complicated sheets, we're going to go into more complicated references that it's really going to make our things like dashboards and different sheets a whole lot easier in terms of like calculating different things. But that concludes the first video. Of Becoming Dangerous in Excel. I hope you learned a lot from it. Like I said, if you want to see certain things, go ahead and put them down in the comments. We're going to keep going with this video series. Next video is going to be on if statements, and those are going to be really cool because you can say, if you're familiar with programming at all, you can say, hey, if this happens, then I want this to happen. And that's something that is hugely beneficial if you're getting into spreadsheets at all. But like I said, that concludes the rest of the video, and I hope you liked it, and I'll see y'all again next time. Thanks for watching.